Warning. A very good friend of mine told me something the other day. I'd like to pass it on to you because I believe that what he said to be true. He said, "We're here for a good time, not a long time, so have a good time. The sun can't shine every day." If you do not find this video entertaining, then you are taking life way too seriously. If you have a complaint about any episode, please book an appointment with the therapist. Cheers, dudes.
That's Dude.
That's Dude.
And welcome to Lazyboys Night.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that.
I'm excited to try this, and I'll tell you why. A little background story. First, this is the Cartwright Springs Brewery Ginger Ale.
Oh, what?
I know. That's why I picked it. I was like, oh, interesting. I was in the Pakenham area for a client. And while I'm there, in all these small towns now, I always check to see if there's a local microbrew, because you never know. And this thing popped up. It's like literally off a dirt road, this tiny little thing, but it looked interesting. And when I saw ginger ale, I'm like, as a kid, you always had ginger ale, and you're like, hey, that was your drink. That was your champagne, right?
Yeah, that was your beer.
That was your beer. That was your whatever. And I'm like, this is a legitimate ginger ale.
Very interesting bouquet.
Oh, and it smells like, yeah.
So, folks, just so you know, there's microbrews or craft brews pretty much everywhere. In the Hollywood Hills and surrounding areas.
Check them out whenever you're
but
near
it's
one.
Worth it just to go in and try what they have.
The hidden gems you can find and the people you talk to, it's absolutely fabulous.
So Lazyboys Night is not necessarily about beer, but we like introducing what we're going to be drinking this night. So if this is your first episode, just so you know, don't expect us to go into snobbery and talk about all the fine little points of making beer. We just enjoy it, and we want to be able to share with you and give a little shout out to the hard work that goes into making
into whatever's providing our awesome refreshment for tonight. Yeah.
So cheers.
But before we do, subscribe,
right there,
like and share.
Yeah.
All right.
Like the Fonz would say.
And before we cheers, what are we doing tonight, dude?
Well, I think tonight would be an appropriate Therapy Thursday to do a crappy bowl of mystery.
Oh,
check this out, folks.
Two guys talking, saying anything, nothing new to say, talking anyway. Start yammering, can't hear a thing, nothing I can do. So let's have one more brew. One more brew. Let's have one more brew. One more brew. Stop talking, try listening, try anything, try whistling. There you go again, saying anything, nothing I can do. So let's have one more brew. One more brew. Let's have one more brew. One more brew.
All right, let's try this ginger ale.
There's a hint of ginger ale in there.
There's a hint, but you can feel it's a stronger ginger aftertaste. There's not the sweetness of the ginger ale.
Oh wait, it just came back.
Ready? Hang on.
Yeah, do it again. There's the aftertaste that has the ginger in it.
Oh, I taste the ginger, just not the sweetness of
not the
ginger ale.
I was talking about the ginger, how it gets even more
interesting beer.
You have to enjoy ginger, folks.
I don't know that this is for everybody, but if you like to try something different, this is, I'm enjoying this very much. You?
Yeah, I'm not,
It's an oddity, but it's a good oddity.
I'm happy to try it out.
Yeah.
If, this is 100% a patio beer, though.
Yes.
It is, it's a, like if you're gonna grab a few cans, or if, can you drink there on do they have like a tap room on there? On the, yeah, okay, so they have a tap room, enjoy it there. If you're gonna grab a couple, make sure they're nice, cold.
Yeah.
You have friends with you, and make yourself, make yourself comfortable outside. and crack her open and share, and that environment with this beer, you'll actually enjoy it.
It's something very it's very unique. I will say that.
And yeah, because it's made to be shared, so you can actually have this kind of a discussion because it is very unique.
I thought we said we weren't going to do beer snobby things.
We're not. We're not talking about the intricacies of beer making. We're just saying, how to consume it. That's more what we talk about.
Thank you, Cartwright Springs, for
very nice. Thanks for bringing that in.
A very interesting and delicious ginger ale.
Dude didn't even have to go out and get this one.
You're welcome, dude.
Sometimes we do bring in our own. This little beer that we find here and there.
All right, so dude, I believe there's a crappy bowl over there.
I'm going to reach over here and pull this out.
Oh, has this been refilled? It looks fuller than last time. No,
it is. This is a little something that one of our regular studio audience and participants, Lude,
he crumpled them up.
He decided that the bowl would look fuller if everything was crumpled up.
Oh, Lude.
So he has this thing where he crumples up everything. If you're drinking a can of beer, whatever, he'll go, just scratch and then walk away. So he decided to do the exact same thing to our freaking crap. But it does look, it
does look full. I thought there was more. I really did. I was like, hey, we do questions.
It's okay. I'm good with it. It makes it interesting.
All right.
Go for it. Yeah, go fish it. Go fish.
This one here is particularly crumpled and. Oh, this could be fun. According to you, which movie had the best soundtrack?
Oh!
Natalie from Montreal, Quebec.
Damn!
According to you, which movie had the best soundtrack? There are a lot. I've always been a big soundtrack fan.
Oh, that's an awesome question.
Oh, yeah. Off the top of my head, I'm really thinking
can we pause and we'll come back?
Well, specifically, I'm thinking the golden age of soundtracks was like the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, big time.
I'm like thinking like Empire Records and Reality Bites.
Yeah.
And they all had great soundtracks.
Yeah.
But one of the ones, and it didn't feature ultra hit songs, but one of the ones that I was just such a huge fan of was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the soundtrack.
Yes!
I was introduced to bands like Extreme on that. It was a fun, hard-rocking, fun album.
Dude, can you just put that intro?
You a musician? Well, here. Try this.
There we go. What do you think?
Awesome.
That was awesome. So that was a big soundtrack.
And then, oh my God, Bill and Ted. I just think about the whole movie was based around them wanting to be a band, but just the music in it was just
music was killer.
That was awesome soundtrack.
Great soundtrack for nostalgia. Oh, you do one of yours first. Yeah.
One of the first soundtracks. I still said first. One of the first soundtracks that the soundtrack was such a big part of the movie that even when you listen to the album, you actually felt like you were still in the movie, was the soundtrack for Reservoir Dogs.
Oh!
Quentin Tarantino.
Classic!
Quentin Tarantino.
Hooga, chaka, hooga. Oh,
I can't stop this feeling.
Oh, man. Tarantino really knew how to enhance the scene with classic 70s hits.
Just the scene where they're coming out and they're walking which everybody copied now. The guys that are just walking slow walk. Oh, that's just the intro with all the... Oh, my...
Reservoir Dogs had a great soundtrack. For nostalgia, it was a double album too. The Forrest Gump soundtrack it brought you through the entire late 50s all the way to the early 80s with hit after hit that really defined the era as you see him live through it and sometimes influence it. And it was just, you wanted nostalgia flashback. Forrest Gump was the album to listen to. That was a great soundtrack.
For me, another big one is the Blues Brothers.
Oh!
It's one of my favorite comedies of all time. We should do at one point.
Have you seen?
We're
The
gonna
car
do
chase
that.
is still legendary.
Oh my lord!
But you're right.
I could watch that movie. I've probably seen it at a minimum 50 times, and I could still watch it like right now.
I will still.
But the soundtrack.
I will interject. The first Blues Brothers movie, not the Blues Brothers 2000.
There's no other. Blues
It doesn't
Brothers.
exist.
There's
It's
just the
terrible. Yeah. Oh, but the soundtrack
the
there.
soundtrack is
Jake and
insane.
Elwood Blues
Yes.
doing their thing, and all the classic R&B stars, Aretha Franklin, and oh, boom! It was just
it was
crazy,
unbelievable
that
soundtrack.
was. Oh yeah.
But even I think just right off the bat, something as simple as with Tom Cruise, Cocktail.
Oh, the hippie
soundtrack,
shit
yeah.
became and Kokomo from
Yes.
Beach Boys.
All of that stuff. That was
when
such
that
a
came out,
huge thing, man.
those songs were getting airplay constantly. You'd go to a party and you could not go without those songs playing.
Simple-ish movie.
Oh, it wasn't a great movie at all.
It's not even a rom-com. It's a kind of a weird. Anyways, the movie was good. I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack
yeah.
was actually better than the movie.
Oh, yeah.
The soundtrack carried that movie.
I'm going to say modern soundtracks that managed to capture that is all 3 editions of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Again, they went with
Good.
They went
Good
with retro.
Yes.
But it worked. And here you have a modern sci-fi superhero action flick
With the Walkman.
with the Walkman. And
With an actual like.
oh yeah.
He actually, and that was one of the most brilliant things to do with this character. It was for him. You were living his own earthbound.
He was
nostalgia,
stuck in the 80s.
and it was he got a tape made.
Yeah. His
by
mixtape.
mom. His mixtape.
His
It's an actual
mixtape.
mixtape.
Oh, yeah.
Which was at one point in our lives, mixtapes were the rage. Everybody had mixtapes.
Because it took effort.
Yeah, it
Because right
took
now you
effort.
just random playlists.
No,
on
you have to
whatever.
go through different
You had
albums
to
and pick different
and set up your
songs.
tape and record and double.
And a certain sequence for it to actually have
and
some
you
kind of an
planned
impact.
the order you wanted for
And
them.
for the person,
Oh yeah.
if you were going to give, like, you got to realize, folks, at one point, when you gave somebody a mixtape, doesn't matter if it was like your significant, if somebody that you wanted to impress, or if it was a best friend and you wanted to, you're going to love this, and you gave them a mixtape, there was only one mixtape. You had the original and the only copy. That was the phenomenal.
It was a pain in the butt to try to copy that over after all that work.
But if you listen to it, when you received the mixtape,
Oh yeah.
and you listened to it, you knew for a fact that was 100% made for you.
You wanted to tell a girl you liked her,
Ugh.
you made her a mixtape. And if she liked that mixtape, you were in. It worked
I got
with
a
mixed
story.
CDs
I got a
too,
story.
but not quite as much.
Yeah, I have a story with
okay.
CDs.
So
At one point, when we transitioned, like CDs, when we started burning our own CDs, where you can actually, anyways, make your own. But I had this girl that I had a crush on. What I decided to do is that I wrote down, this is your mixtape on a CD.
yeah.
And I had put all these different songs on it, and I had left it on her windshield, and I had left it at her car. So she actually, because we had
CD players in the cars.
in the car, so she could actually
Mine
play her
still does.
mixtape, and then play it. So I was like super proud of going, yeah, I'm bringing mixtapes back, baby.
We should.
Yeah, that was freaking awesome,
Forget
man.
your MP3 players and your flash keys. Let's bring back a mixed CD because they don't make tapes anymore.
But if you think about it,
yeah.
the soundtrack, that's why when you brought
That's
up,
what it was.
it was a mixtape. That's all it
Mixtapes
is.
were soundtracks of our lives.
Yes.
For that era. It was like, whatever year you were in, whatever moment, this is what I'm feeling now. These are the songs that represent. And typically, you had a mixtape every summer. You know what I mean?
who came up with that?
Who?
Music is the soundtrack to your life.
Yeah.
Dick Clark quote. That's a quote from him.
Really?
Yes, Dick Clark. It was his saying.
I never knew he said that first.
Yeah. So if you don't know who Dick Clark is, here's a photo. of him.
So wait for New Year's Eve, and you'll see.
Yeah. He hosted it for the longest time.
Yeah, and what was the talent show? The
he had different bands on there. It was American Bandstand.
Yeah, it was American Bandstand first.
Huge back in the day. It was huge. Everybody listened to that because he always had like the biggest the biggest stars on that show that would come on and perform, and people were dancing, just enjoying music. Yeah, it was before music videos and all that. If you wanted to see, hear bands, that would be the place, because most other places would be late night talk shows.
And that was basically, that show was basically a mixtape right there, because you had the hottest acts put together. And it was a soundtrack to that era. But like, I remember as a teen, and not that I'd planned, okay, this is the one for this year, but inadvertently, every summer, I'd wind up making a new mixtape to pop in the car, because when the guys were out driving and going to a party, this is the tape that would psych us up for it. And okay, next year, oh, these are the big hits now that we like, and boom, boom, boom. And you just wound up with your soundtrack.
Yeah, but we still do that. I do that with Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't
have Spotify in the car, so I don't really...
No, I know, but I mean, we're still doing that, right? We're still creating, like, even on Spotify, the songs that I choose, it's... For me, it's always a setup. It's a party. If I'm gonna have people over, and that's the jam, man. I'm gonna throw in exactly that set. It's gonna be that mixed tape.
I think the beauty, but at the same time, the problem with the Spotify playlist is it can be endless. And there was something to knowing you only had 70 minutes on a CD.
Yeah. Oh,
and so you had to really pick carefully what you were putting on.
Oh, no, the other one you could just spam the crap out of it. Just add whatever.
You know?
Well, yeah, no, for sure. And again, when you're talking about a soundtrack, the movies, let's say comedy, an hour and a half, or drama, maybe, all closer to the 2 hour mark. We're not talking about today. Today's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
But yeah, they had like
back in the day.
10, 12 songs.
And they would throw that onto a record, or they'd throw that on a cassette or a CD later on, whatever. But that soundtrack was, I got a brain fart at this point right now, folks. The one thing that I hate is when they would come up with soundtracks inspired by the film.
Oh, and you're like, these songs are not actually in the movie. What are you doing?
They would have like a super hit, like let's say Footloose. Footloose, the movie, had a killer soundtrack. They came out, I don't know how many different versions of inspired by the film Footloose. And it was like,
they were just milking it at that point.
Whatever, just to be able to put the stamp Footloose on it. But again, another killer soundtrack, Footloose.
Now, personally, I don't know about you, I think it's more of an acquired taste, but I've always liked movie scores when they're like big, like think John Williams, Star Wars, Superman, Indiana Jones, all these big scores. Not that you want to listen to it in a playlist over and over, but every now and then, one of these songs, one of these soundtracks I had, one of these soundtracks I had that was just, there was only one song, the rest was all score, and I would use it when I would work out, is the soundtrack to Rocky. Okay.
You know what? I don't think that was awesome music on that.
So that one, Gonna Fly Now, had lyrics, but all the other ones were strictly instrumental, and it was like pump you up music, because it's fight music, it's workout music, and it's big instrumental score, and I actually loved that soundtrack.
To me, music has an immense impact on the film, and even some TV shows.
Oh yeah.
But that cinematic experience, when you have that appropriate song coming on, especially at the very beginning. I'm thinking something like Dumb and Dumber.
That was a great soundtrack.
Right, Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, man.
That soundtrack, I can listen to it over and over again.
The Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead is awesome.
But just the way when it starts
Mary Moon, and the great soundtrack.
You're
again,
thinking about
90s, right? 80s
and 90s
exactly.
It was huge on music. We were musical. Like right now, because of social media, there's so much music out there. But there was a time when there was it was funneled. This is what's coming out, and we only got the best of the best of the best making music at that point. Even if it was one hit wonders, it was still the best that they could offer.
It was a great hit.
So everything was awesome. And you look at something like Dumb and Dumber, where he's in the limo and he's driving and he sees this really, really hot chick at the bus stop, and the limo stops and it backs up again, and you can see that the car moving. He's jumping from the driver's seat to the back.
And he runs down the window pretending he's rich and pretending he's Australian, right? Throw some shrimp on the bar.
I love your accent. Or was it Austria? Oh, put another shrimp on the barbie. But as soon as he gets back into, and the music starts, I'm like, every single major part in that movie has unreal soundtrack. Like the music's insane.
It's a crucial part that is often overlooked until you become aware of it, and then you realize how big soundtracks are. Without them, the story falls flat because you're not as emotionally involved. The music drags you in. Anyways,
and for me,
we could talk about music forever.
Yeah, for sure. Music has a massive impact on my life in general. I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is I put music on, and the last thing I do before I go to bed. It's always on. I get in the car, first thing I do.
Yeah, my radio is always on the car.
Always on. So when I get a movie that I enjoy and that has that killer soundtrack with it, the impact that leaves on me is forever. That has like a massive stamp and is crucial. But there's no film, like if we're going to go with my number one movie, soundtrack-wise, film-wise, that has had the biggest impact, and I still have the, oh my God, I can't even describe how much of an impact this film has had on me, and the soundtrack, Pink Floyd, The Wall.
That's a little different because the film is a representation of the album.
Yeah, but
it's not a soundtrack too, but it's still a soundtrack.
No, it's a soundtrack, because you know what?
It's a collaboration.
But you can listen to the soundtrack, or what I've done, I don't even put the visual on. I just put the movie on so I can listen to the entire film. So it's like all these different layers to, but it is. Okay, so it's not, you're saying technically it's not...
No, but I still see what you're saying. It's still a soundtrack. It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
The film is the soundtrack, as opposed to the soundtrack enhances the film.
So for that, for the visual impact, the storytelling, and the music, that combination, there's no other movie that comes close to it. Maybe close just for and giggles for fun. The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It's just a jump to the left.
Exactly. That could be something else.
Technically, that's musical, though.
Yeah, but it still has a soundtrack to it, right? It's still music.
The list would go on and on and on.
What an awesome freaking question.
Thank you, Natalie.
Yeah. So, folks, if you have your favorite,
make your soundtrack right now.
Let us know. Let us know what you've enjoyed. When you go into the comments, start putting comments. I'll reply to it. I do. If you've noticed in other episodes, if you put down comments, I will reply to it.
You will.
I will. That's my thing, right?
All right.
So put down comments, some of your favorite soundtracks of all time, and I'll chime in and we'll have a discussion about it. So thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget, this is a Therapy Thursday. And what are we doing next Thursday? We'll meet again.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So we'll see you next Thursday.
Cheers.
Cheers.